today. This is my very first Wednesday wow inside the Legacy Voice app. I have yoga hair, don't care. I am super excited to have you Songbirds on with me. For those of you who are joining live, this is going to be streamed through the YouTube, and it'll be right through the Legacy Voice app, so that's where you'll get to find it. So the Wednesday Wows are going to be a series that I'm going to be putting out every other Wednesday inside the app. They're usually informative videos about a subject in music. It could be anything from the diaphragm to what is Fach? So all kinds of things that we talk about. This very first Wednesday Wow is actually going to be about a pretty important subject, and that is finding the right voice teacher. Okay, and also what is the difference between a voice teacher and a voice coach? What is the difference? So let's have a discussion about that. Now, just so you know, the other thing here is that when we do these Wednesday Wows, we are going to have them streaming through the app, but we will have slides up for you as well that are going to be edited later. So it's going to be live and then edited later with the slides. Okay, so let's get started. Let's talk about what is the difference between a voice teacher and a voice coach. All right, well, that's the very foundation, obviously, of becoming a singer, is getting the right education and getting the right person or people to guide you into your career. Or even if you just want to be a singer in a choir, how do you do that? So you've got to have the right people on your side. All right. So let's begin by defining the difference between a voice teacher and a voice coach. First of all, the terms are not synonymous, even though it may seem that way to the general public, because a lot of voice teachers and voice coaches will use that word, especially voice coach, interchangeably. So a coach may or may not have the same level of education. This is the difference. And a voice teacher, but a voice teacher may or may not have the same level of experience as a voice coach. It sounds simple enough, but it can be used interchangeably, but that's the main difference. Okay, if you found somebody who's got both credentials, like me, I have both credentials. I've got a lot of experience in performing, but I have multiple degrees and education and lots of experience teaching as well. So and there are a lot of me out there as well. You've definitely struck gold if you found somebody like that. Now, there are some who do both, including me, but there are a few basic differences to keep in mind. And I should probably turn my piano off because I'm afraid that I might actually hit something here. Okay, so first let's examine the difference between the two in a school setting. Okay, so a teacher in a classroom setting introduces new concepts or topics and ideas to students. The teacher then tests their knowledge, and in some way they will usually do it, like as a singer, they'll do it as a recital or a performance, or if you're in college, as college juries. A coach, on the other hand, they will take a student with previous or newly acquired knowledge, and they'll use that knowledge to guide the student in a particular way, especially to become an expert themselves on the subject, kind of like a football coach, right? Game day, right? Think game day. Okay, essentially, teaching is focused on learning techniques and the concept of coaching and concepts, and then coaching is focused on developing the performance of the student. So what is the difference when it comes to teaching voice versus coaching the singer? A voice teacher is usually college educated and possibly certified in voice, and they instruct vocal pedagogy, which pedagogy is the art and the science of teaching, as well as the study of different teaching methods. And we'll also talk about pedagogy in the 10 pillars of successful singing, because that is an entire pillar in my 10 pillars of successful singing. It's a mouthful. Okay, so a teacher should be a true technician that focuses mainly on developing the voice. A voice teacher will teach the technique of singing, guiding the student, whether you're a professional or you're a beginner, towards better singing. And whatever the level the student is, a teacher will teach with a good technique, and they'll have the goals that are limited to, but also including but not limited to healthy singing and vocal stamina. So in a one-on-one teaching student setting, the teacher will take the time to get to know the singer and their individual voice, which is super important, right? And you want them to get to know who you are as a person as well. You want them to tailor the methods of teaching to develop your own unique strength. So the coachable singer, and I have to say that because it's very important to be coachable, you will learn to adapt to these new methods given by the teacher, and you'll bring them home to practice daily or regularly. A voice coach now is one who improves the performance of the student under the assumption that the student has already been studying with a voice teacher and they can actually sing well or is on their way to singing well. So that actually gives the coach the ability to focus on guiding the student to achieve a goal, such as entering or participating in a competition, auditioning for schools and conservatories, or possibly taking a professional audition. And then the voice coach will also use sometimes the title voice teacher, but that would be a misnomer if they don't have the same level of education. So just be careful there. Okay, and just you want to take your time to consider your options. Really, that's all there is to it, right? So there are a lot of reasons, really good reasons, to seek out a college education in voice performance as well. But keep in mind that there are limitations to what can be taught within those institutional walls, right? A college voice professor these days, or back in those days too, but they will choose repertoire for you, or they'll give you options in repertoire to sing, but they wouldn't necessarily call themselves a voice coach. That is not the term that they would use in the institutional setting. So they might instruct you to consult a voice coach though. So if you have an audition especially, or some kind of performance coming up, they would have hopefully somebody on their roster that you could connect with to be coached in a particular way for an audition. So voice teachers can also, inside the college institutional walls, I'll say, they are often restricted in what they are required or allowed to teach based on their contract with the school. So a college voice teacher may be educated in pedagogy, but they may not have the performance experience that a coach would either. Also, a college voice teacher may be, I've already said that, the private studio owner. This is the part that I love because I don't teach in the colleges anymore. So a private studio owner will be just as, if not more, educated than their university counterparts. Take that into consideration because it's very important to maybe seek out somebody that is not constricted or restricted by college, by being in the college institution, right? Because they won't be bound by any particular contract, right? So a private voice instructor, they'll have more freedom to work with your individual needs as a student. They'll also have, a private studio owner will quite likely have more stage experience as well. And it's highly likely that they have a resume, a whole host of professional performances, and possibly touring experience as well. They may also then consider themselves a voice coach if they have a lot of performance experience, because they have the freedom to teach that way, right? And you probably also, it may seem on paper that a private studio owner is charging more, right? It may seem that way, but the private studio owner actually has your best interest at heart, right? So you have the ability to study the things that are in college on your own, right? So you could, we talk about this all the time. The prices of college education is exorbitant now. And taking lessons, it may seem pricey on paper, but if you want to be a singer, that's the way to go, if you ask me. If you want to go into teaching, I would highly recommend getting a college education. But if you're a performer there are ways of getting around it depending on the type of performing you'd like to do. Okay. Um, all right. So basically, when I want you to do your research. Even if you're listening to me and you have this app, you want to study with me. I may not always be available either. So I have other people that I know that would love to take you on as a voice student if you decide not to study with me, or if you'd rather study with somebody in your local area as well. But here's the thing, you want to always do your research to find the right teacher. Okay, so always ask to see their resume or CV, whether they're in college or whether they're private. A lot of people don't take the time to do that, and then they get stuck with a voice teacher that they're not necessarily gelling with, right? Okay, so to wrap it up, a voice teacher in college or private can develop the voice at any level. They're often certified or college educated, right? Or both. They're highly educated in vocal technique. Their goal, a voice teacher's goal ultimately, is to build the voice first and foremost. Healthy singing, proper technique. A voice coach will develop the already skilled singer in their performance, right? And they may or may not be certified, but that's okay because they have tons of experience out there, and they probably play a little piano, and they probably know lots of repertoire in all different fields. And especially like if you wanted to just take with a musical theater, if you wanted to take with a musical theater vocal coach, they're going to have tons and tons of books and repertoire, and they'll just have everything in their head exactly what you need. That's what a vocal coach will be great at. So their goal is to develop the performance of the skilled singer, right? And they may or may not be certified. They may or may not be educated in vocal technique. A lot of vocal coaches don't have the best technique unless that vocal coach has technical and pedagogical experience behind them, okay? So their ultimate goal is to refine the singer's performance so that it's stage ready. That's basically what a coach can do, right? Okay, teachers are focused on the voice and coaches are focused on the performance. That's pretty simple. So singing is definitely fun. It's my favorite thing to do, in my opinion. And if everyone sang, even just for the pure joy of it, the world we live in would be a much better place. I think you would all agree with me, wouldn't you? So, if you need to level up your skills so that you could be the best singer or the best performer that you could be, I highly recommend you download the Legacy Voice app. I am one of the voice teachers. Jessie Martin is one of the voice teachers in the app. You may have already seen some of the interviews that I have. A lot of those people in the interview series are also voice teachers and performers and coaches as well. So basically, I want to just wrap it up by saying, even if you already have a good voice, especially if you already have a good voice, right? A qualified voice teacher will definitely help you further develop your voice, and a vocal coach will ensure that you are ready to perform. And our entire team that we have are all professional singers. We have people who are touring Broadway singers. They are Broadway singers, have Metropolitan Opera singers, or Grammy Award winners, barbershop singers, cruise ship singers, any kind of singing, choral singers. If you want any kind of singing that you want, we can guide you in that direction. That's what's wonderful about the Legacy Voice app. Okay? So go ahead and download the app if you haven't already. And I will see you on the other side. Looking forward to our next Wednesday Wow. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye, Songbirds.